Right, so I have another battle today. I created an ET medium Debian machine and an ET medium Red Hat Enterprise Linux machine on GCP, and I'm going to perform a bunch of tests to see which distro is more efficient. So let's start. Both are the external IPs of my machines. I open two terminal tabs, one for Debian and another one for Red Hat. And I'm going to use WRK to test how many HTTP requests the server can handle per second and how fast it responds under a heavy concurrent load. Test is over, so we're going to compare the requests per second. That's what we got from Red Hat, 2400, and on Debian we got 2456. Like, they're roughly the same. We're also going to compare the latency. We have 160 on Debian and 161 on Red Hat. They were exactly the same. I wouldn't care about the transfer per second on Red Hat being absurdly higher than in Debian because it takes a lot of things into consideration, like the payload size, for example. When normalized by request per second and latency, both systems perform effectively the same under web server load. A database performance test, I'm going to SSH into my machines. And I have them side to side. One's my Debian and my Red Hat. Both machines, I'm going to switch to PSQL user. I'm going to create a database benchmark. Initialize the benchmark data. Both machines are going to run a PostgreSQL performance test that simulates 50 concurrent clients executing database transactions for 30 seconds. On this specific test, my Debian machine clearly outperformed Red Hat. While my Debian TPS was 562, on Red Hat it was 432. Not only that, my Debian latency average was significantly lower than Red Hat, 88 against 115. This means that my Debian machine handled more database transactions in the same time with faster response per transaction, indicating a better overall performance under this specific PostgreSQL workload. The number of transactions actually processed on my Debian was also higher than on my Red Hat. Now let's go to our final test. I'm going to run a disk.io benchmark that simulates random read and write operations. On this test, my Red Hat has slightly higher read bandwidth, 615 against 597, and also slightly higher write bandwidth with 642 against 626. However, the difference is very small, so in practical terms, this is a near draw with a slight edge to Red Hat on file system I/O efficiency. So in the end of my web server test, both machines handle almost like 2,400 requests per second with nearly identical latency. On my pgbench test, Debian wins clearly with higher TPS, 563 against 432, and lower latency. And on disk.io, Red Hat wins slightly, but marginally better read and write for output, but the difference is small. Based on these tests, what I can say is that Debian performed better under this specific PostgreSQL benchmark workload, with higher transaction flow output and lower latency compared to Red Hat in the same configuration. While running web and disk.io benchmarks under identical conditions, the results show no universal winner.